For 3 centuries, the most heavily guarded door in the Ottoman Empire opened onto a room no man was allowed to enter. Inside that door, an entire parallel empire was being run by women, about women, for women, and almost everything you think you know about it is wrong. The Ottoman Harem was the most misunderstood institution in imperial history. European writers fantasized about it for 400 years. Modern television keeps fantasizing. Almost none of it matches reality. The real harem was a school, a treasury, a government office, a nursery, a diplomatic corps, and yes, the Sultan's domestic quarters. But that was the smallest part of it. Today, 20 things about how it actually worked. Things European travelers never figured out. Things modern Hollywood still gets wrong. If you like the strange corners of history, subscribe. Number 1. The harem housed more than 1,000 people at its peak. Not 100, not a few hundred, over 1,000. They included the Sultan's mother, his wives and concubines, his unmarried daughters, his young sons, his sisters, his elderly female relatives, hundreds of female attendants, hundreds of eunuchs, and a small staff of trusted older male officials. It was less a household than a small town. Number 2. Most women entered the harem as slaves, captured in war, gifted by foreign nobles, or purchased from slave markets. They came from across the empire and beyond. The Caucasus, the Balkans, North Africa, sometimes Western Europe. Once inside, they began a years-long education in language, music, etiquette, and palace politics. The slave label was permanent. Their power sometimes was not. Number 3. The harem was guarded and run by eunuchs, 2 completely separate groups. The white eunuchs guarded the male palace school and were of Christian European origin. The black eunuchs guarded the harem itself and came primarily from Sudan, Ethiopia, and other parts of East Africa. The 2 corps did not mix. They had different barracks, different chains of command, and different uniforms. Number 4. The chief black eunuch was one of the most powerful officials in the empire. He outranked most government ministers. He controlled access to the Queen Mother, the Sultan's wives, and the young princes. He oversaw the religious foundations of Mecca and Medina, including their finances. Foreign ambassadors who wanted real influence at court bribed him before they bribed anyone else. Number 5. The Queen Mother was the real authority. The valid Sultan controlled the harem's daily operations, its enormous budget, and the careers of every woman inside. She had her own private treasury, her own palace within the palace, and her own staff. Many queen mothers were wealthier than European kings. Number 6. The harem had a formal hierarchy with at least 8 ranks. At the top, the Queen Mother. Below her, the chief consort, then the favorites who had borne sons, then ordinary consorts, then trained women not yet chosen, then ordinary attendants, then junior staff, then new arrivals. Movement between ranks was possible, but rare. The structure was as rigid as any military. Number 7. Senior women held formal job titles with administrative authority. The Kaya Kadin was the Queen Mother's chief of staff. The Hazanadar Usta managed the harem treasury. The Kamesir Usta supervised the laundry, which handled thousands of pieces of clothing per week. These weren't honorary positions. They came with salaries, residences, and pension rights. Number 8. The harem ran one of the best women's schools in the world. Newly arrived women received years of formal education in reading, writing, Quranic studies, music, embroidery, mathematics, and the etiquette of multiple languages. The curriculum was as rigorous as the male palace school across the courtyard. Educated harem women later served as governesses, advisors to provincial governors, and tutors to royal children. Now here's the part the European travelers never figured out. Number 9. The cage, the kafs, was inside the harem. The luxurious apartments where unmarried Ottoman princes lived in confinement were physically within the harem complex, surrounded by it on multiple sides. The princes were not really separate from the women of the harem. They lived alongside them, monitored by them, raised by them, and in many cases controlled by them. Number 10. A concubine who became pregnant by the Sultan was instantly elevated. She moved to better apartments. She received more attendants. She received an annual stipend. If she bore a son who survived infancy, she became eligible for the title of favorite, and her son became eligible to inherit the throne. Pregnancy in the harem was not romance. It was career advancement. Number 11. Imperial princesses were married off to senior officials, not to other royals. Marrying a princess was politically useful to the sultan. It tied his most ambitious viziers to him by blood. But it was often disastrous for the princess. Her husband was technically her social inferior. He had no right to take other wives or refuse her demands. Many of these marriages were unhappy. Many ended in the husband's execution. Number 12. Princes were separated from their mothers around age 7. They moved to the male palace school for their formal education. They could visit their mothers, but the bond loosened by design. The empire did not want adult princes too emotionally dependent on their mothers because the queen mothers were already powerful enough as it was. Number 13. Most days in the harem were uneventful. The popular imagination pictures constant intrigue and dramatic political maneuvering. The reality was mostly routine. Women woke early, prayed, ate, attended classes or worked, prayed again, socialized, ate again, prayed again, slept. Like any institution, most of the time was spent maintaining itself rather than producing drama. Number 14. The harem had a thriving cultural life. Women composed poetry, performed music, painted miniatures, and produced calligraphy at levels comparable to the men's palace. Several harem women became respected poets whose work survives today. Some queen mothers commissioned major buildings, mosques, fountains, hospitals that still stand in modern Istanbul. Number 15. The harem operated its own medical staff. Female doctors and apothecaries treated women, children, and senior officials. They specialized in herbal remedies, pediatric care, and women's health. Some of their formulas circulated outside the palace and influenced general Ottoman medicine. The harem was, among other things, a research institution. Number 16. Senior harem women conducted business with the outside world through trusted male intermediaries. They owned properties. They invested in trade. They financed construction projects. Some operated personal charitable foundations that survived for generations. Their wealth was real, transferable, and in some cases inherited by their female descendants for centuries. Number 17. By the 1800s, the harem began to modernize. Women started receiving European-style education in addition to Ottoman. Some learned French, played piano, read European novels. The sultans of the late empire installed European furniture, photography studios, and even a small dynamo for electric lights inside the harem itself. The traditional harem was becoming something else. Number 18. The last harem looked nothing like what European travelers had described for centuries. The women of the harem under Sultan Abdulhamid II and Mehmed V wore European clothes, played tennis, traveled to summer palaces in motor cars, and corresponded with foreign princesses by telegraph. The institution had become hard to distinguish from a European royal household. Number 19. The harem ended quietly. When Sultan Abdulhamid II was deposed in 1909, his successor publicly announced that women who wanted to leave the harem and return to their families were free to do so. Many did, others stayed. The new sultan kept a much smaller household. When the empire itself fell in 1922, the harem, what was left of it, simply dissolved. The remaining women were given pensions and apartments outside the palace. Number 20. And today, the harem is a museum. The same rooms where queen mothers ruled, where concubines plotted, where slaves became queens and backroom politics shaped a continent for 400 years, now have velvet ropes, audio guides, and small printed cards explaining what each space used to be. The empire is gone. The institution is gone. The building, somehow, remains. The harem lasted, in some form, from the 1400s to the early 1900s, over 500 years. For most of that time, it was the most powerful women's institution in the world. The European fantasy of the harem, exotic, decadent, sexual, was always a projection. The real harem was something stranger, a government office that happened to be where the sultan slept. A school that happened to also raise the next emperor. A bureaucracy that happened to be entirely staffed by women, eunuchs, and the sons of slaves. If you want more empires the history books skip past, subscribe. We open the empire's kitchens. 20 Ottoman foods that sound fake, but were real.